New update: I've ruined every relationship my serial cheating sister has ever had, and now no one in our small town likes her, including her family, and I couldn't be happier. Okay, hello people, you all wanted an update. The original is getting long, so I'm making a second post about it. So, I'll start off with my stepmother's reaction. Around the time she would have gotten home, I sat in front of my phone like a kid on Christmas waiting. To my disappointment, all I got was a text message. It said tomorrow, lunch, Fave Pizza Place. It said the actual name, but you get what I mean. That was all. I was wondering if she was going to end my life. After some discussion with my friends, I went, possibly, am I still alive? You could say that. So, I met my stepmom at the pizza shop I adore. We order and she's smiling at me. It was kinda creepy. She asked me if I knew why she invited me out. My response was probably dumb, but I replied to unalive me. She laughed, shaking her head, and told me she spent too much time keeping my dumb butt alive to off me now. She said the reason she invited me is because she now has no reason to keep my father's secrets from me being the drama dung beetle I am. I begged for info. She provided. I still don't like her, but damn, she asked me if I knew about the way my parents met. Obviously I said no. She explained that a cousin of hers, who I know as Auntie Sam, was throwing a party for her friends and family. Sam was friends with my mom, but my mom had never met stepmom and my dad. My mom was born blind, but liked parties anyways. There was alcohol present, but my mom only drank pop in a glass with ice. My stepmom left early because she didn't like being away from Kelly long, and my dad stayed. Sam introduced my father to my mother. Sam had no reason to suspect anything would happen. Sam was also already drunk to my stepmother's knowledge. Sam doesn't know what happened from there. She didn't know if my father had gotten my mother a new cup with something more than pop, or if he had dropped something in her drink, or if she grabbed the wrong cup. Sam glanced over at some point and saw my mother wobbling, and Sam ran over. My mother was, to Sam's drunk mind, clearly drunk. There were lots of cups on the table, so she at the time had assumed mom grabbed the wrong cup too many times. She brought my mom upstairs to sleep it off. That was the last time she saw my mom that night, but she saw my father a few times. Sam continued to hang out with my mother, and one day my mother announced she was pregnant. My mother did not have a partner at that time. Sam did some mental math and flipped out, asking my mother a lot of questions, but my mother laughed it off and said she didn't get pregnant at the party, but with a one-night stand. Sam accepted this hesitantly. After I was born, Sam was babysitting me and Kelly at the same time. Her red flags went off again seeing us side by side, and she did a DNA test, one with me and Sam, figuring if it was a family member, Sam and me would be a slight match. We weren't a match at all, and she was relieved. But Sam babysat us again when I was 3 and Kelly 5, and according to stepmom, Sam couldn't stop staring at us, and did another test, me and Kelly this time. She got the results and her heart sank. Me and Kelly were a match. She said nothing for a bit, asking my mother occasional questions but couldn't hold back, and told my stepmother at some point, who blew up at my father. He claimed he was drunk and mistook my mother for her, that there was consent but it was a mistake and happened only once. Stepmother agreed to forgive him on the condition he was part of my life. She said she thought he'd admit to the fact my mother wouldn't want to be near him, but he and my mother went to court and an agreement was had. Stepmom said she wasn't happy with this, but she went with it. When I kept getting distant from my father, she gave him money for family therapy and play dates. He used this money plus his money to hire a lawyer and basically steal me. By the time she realized what he did, she couldn't stop him. She still wanted little to nothing to do with me and didn't want to get involved. Then my mother passed away, and she said she realized one thing: if she left him now, she was leaving me with an idiot who would probably sell me for a pair of shoes. If she left, she could take Kelly, but she had no claim to me, and I never let her adopt me, and that wasn't helping. She tried to help my grandparents fight for me, but they were shot down, and she decided she could put up with him to protect me. Her words, I don't know if it's true. She said she didn't care now. I knew the truth. She was divorcing him and she wouldn't have to think about him again. I asked her about Kelly and she shrugged and said her daughter ended up a bit too much like her father for her liking, and that she was going to give Kelly a few options to try and fix the problems she saw in Kelly, such as therapy, cutting off her father, but she was going to take everything from my father, as the prenup they signed basically says cheater gets nothing but the clothes off their back, so exactly what I wanted. We left it there. She hugged me and apologized for not being better and for screwing up so much and making me hate her and Kelly. She said if I need help with anything to let her know. I'm starting to think I misjudged her, don't know yet though. We parted there and I went home. I waited and waited and then got a call from my dad and did not answer. He texted me that I was a horrible daughter, that he wanted me out of his house, lol, and that he never wanted to see me again, that I destroyed his marriage over a dead woman who barely knew me. He was so mad about it, but I texted and reminded him that he had years to stop cheating on stepmom, and to not let me catch him, and he could have had the picture perfect like he thought he deserved. I also called him a few choice words on my mother's behalf. Next was Kelly. She did in fact find the post and apologized. She texted me paragraph after paragraph calling me a manipulative B-word, saying I spent my life lying to her face over a mistake she made when she was 10, that she didn't need to apologize or feel bad, that I should have liked being part of a new rich family, that I didn't need to tell her mother anything about her dad bribing her or her cheating. I did tell stepmom during the meeting that it was my fault. Stepmom gave her the ultimatum, which was get therapy, cut dad off, or find somewhere else to live. I just sent back a laughing emoji and blocked her and my dad. That was all yesterday. Does not end there. As some of you know, my therapist called me this morning. He asked if I had time to meet today, and I did, so I met with him, and I walked in. He turned his laptop to face me and showed me the TikTok video about me, and asked, "Is this you?" I couldn't stop laughing, and he just shook his head and said he had a lot more work to do than he thought he did, but he was smiling. I saw that smile. He just didn't want to tell me he thought my revenge was awesome. I know it. We chatted a bit about the situation, about how it was a bit far. I disagree, but whatever, I left. Stepmom called me later and asked for help with something. I went to her house curiously. She told me her lawyer told her to give dad yesterday to come get his stuff and get out. He got what he could, and now today we were going to have a bonfire. I asked if this was lawyer approved and she shrugged and said it's her stuff anyways. Dad bought none of it and probably can't afford a lawyer to fight her. So we threw a lot of stuff in a pile and let the flames burn. It was kind of fun. She invited Auntie Sam over, who cried and hugged me because she felt bad for not telling me, but she hated my father and wanted to be nowhere near him. I showed stepmom the text from Kelly and she called Kelly and told her she had no one to blame but herself, and not to blame me for the fact she couldn't help chasing nice guys away, and if she wanted to stick with a nice guy she should act less like her cheating mess of a father, and that Kelly had a week to decide her choice. She's an adult and stepmom can ditch her whenever she pleases. She hung up. Stepmom, me and Auntie Sam ordered pizza and stepmom's dad called her, asking what was going on and why Kelly showed up at their house crying. Stepmom went inside. I have no idea what was said, but she came out looking smug and told me not to worry about it because Kelly wasn't my problem anymore. I shrugged it off and said whatever then. Anyways, the day ain't over yet, but I have Kelly and dad blocked. My maternal grandparents have confirmed that stepmom was ready to sneak the money to lawyer up fight for me after mom died. I did confront her about not helping them when mom was alive, but she's sticking to the story that she didn't know my father was taking them to court the second time until it was too late, and she felt awkward contacting my mom after she helped steal her child. My stepmother's parents have also told me not to worry about my dad and Kelly, and that if they try anything after this they will wish they had licked their wounds and moved on. I don't know what my stepmother's parents told Kelly, but apparently they are highly against cheating of any kind and think Kelly should do as stepmom said, cut off dad and seek therapy and apologize to me. I think that's everything. It was crazy for a bit there, but in moving on with life, washing my hands of Kelly and dad as far as I'm concerned, iffy on if in ditching stepmom or not. She said she'd completely understand if I did, as she says she screwed up bad during my childhood, but she still wants to help me with expenses and stuff, so But either way, everyone in my tiny town knows what both of them did now. Some people in my town actually found the post as well, not just my therapist, and drama spreads fast apparently. I'm also owning that shit when I'm asked about it because I want people to know what they did to me. I don't think stepmom is facing much backlash. She did give all the pictures I printed off to her lawyer, who laughed at the pile and said me existing was enough proof for the divorce, but the pile doesn't hurt, especially since I wrote the dates on many of the pictures and some were relatively recent. I don't think this is as good as the original post because I never expected to make an update, and I've kinda written this as it happened, and so yeah, hope this calms the drama junkies in the comments, and if anything else happens I'll probably add it here to this post.